What's going on, people? It's your man, the YB, back once again. Big shout out to my doggy, Donny69, for coming through and boosting up the coins. So, we got another call out for you, man, right now, regarding Fake the Cake Paul. Carl La Cobra Froch aired him out, and they got into a bit of a back and forth on Twitter. So here we go, we're going to get to it right now.
Such a big commodity. He's such a big commodity. He sells tickets. He puts bums on seats. People are interested. Netflix, 30 million. Come on, 74,000 now at the AT&T. Not quite 80,000, is it? He's not there yet. He's getting there, but he's not quite there. He doesn't do the big crowds, does he? But he pulls in the old Bunsen burner, doesn't he, Jake Paul? So I don't think he'll hang his gloves up. There'll be a plan for Jake Paul. But I tell you what, my mobile phone won't be ringing, will it? They won't be sending me an email. They won't be contacting my agent to get a fight because they know. I ain't calling him out. I'm just letting you know that he knows that I fucking know. If I went in there with Jake Paul, it would be an absolute mismatch. One round demolition job. I'd even tie one arm behind my back. And just imagine, one arm behind my back, just lining him up with his right hand and eventually levering him with a big uppercut or a big overhand dirty stinker. Put him in the El Sparko position like he's been tasered. Such a big commodity. He sells tickets.
Oh man! Then obviously, so La Cobra put that out, and then responded to that video and said, "This one here, effing sore loser. Shut the f up. I've done more in 4 years than you have in your life. Fake Paul, you fought a man with a bum knee who's 70-year-old, and I think some people are saying you paid him to do nothing in there. I don't think you did, but some people are saying you probably did, knowing you. About looking at us. Yeah? You were laughing, you were scared to death in there. You were scared to death in there. There's 65 million-year-old man on coca years. Fact, if you adjust, I keep telling you, man, if you adjust Mike Tyson's age for the amount of premium New Yorkian, listen, Mike weren't messing with the bash. Yeah? He was getting the 10 out of 10 Pablo Escobar. Pablo, I'm pure Escobar. That's what he was on. Yeah? He wasn't sniffing no talcum powder. I'm pure Escobar is what he was off. So you take the RYB, he's only 58. 78. Adjusted. Okay. Anyway. I've done more in 4 years. Mike put you on, man. When Mike fought Roy Jones, it did 1.6 million pay-per-views. When you fought the bum of the month, all them bums you fought, I didn't even watch it. That's how much interest. A man who's somewhat into boxing, I didn't even watch that. Jake Paul, box rate. He fought some bums and cab drivers. Some Waymo. Listen, to be fair, they weren't Uber, they was Waymo. You fought some Waymo drivers. Let's look at the Waymo drivers. Ryan Borland, Waymo driver, for sure, right? Andre August, Waymo driver. You fought 2 Waymo drivers. That's what you did. Who watched it? Did 30 trillion people tune in on Netflix? No, he didn't. He did not. Yeah? Tyson versus Jones. Pay-per-view. Oh, wow. I'm cross-eyed. Buys. Let's have a look. Tyson versus Jones did 1.6 million pay-per-view buys. Generated over 80 million in revenue. And it was like an exhibition, and it was a move around, and it was no crowd in there. Yeah? If anything, the numbers went down with Fake Paul. That makes sense. 30 million people watching, you don't have to pay for it though. Yeah? 1.6 million pay-per-view buys, 1.6 million houses decided to buy the fight. That's more than I believe you can say for Netflix. Listen, I think Jake Paul, I think it'd have been a similar size, to be fair. Maybe a bit bigger. Because it was only because it was people. If it was billed as an exhibition, if Mike hadn't cucked the fans, we all knew what we were getting. If 1.6 million people tuned in to watch an exhibition between Roy Jones and Mike, the only reason more people potentially tuned in to watch Fake Paul and Mike is because, number one, we was cucked, thinking Mike was going to do something. That's the truth here. No one was watching to watch Fake Paul look good or to see what he could do. We all thought Mike could do something. My mum was texting me, "Oh, are you staying up for the..." I'm thinking, whoa, this is big. Because of Mike. Because guess what? My mum weren't texting me when you was fighting Andre Waymo August. Or Ryan Waymo Baller. They weren't even sure texting me. I didn't even know. Swear down. I'm in this game like that. That makes sense, media-wise. We know what's going on. We're checking the news. I didn't even know these was on. I found out a week later on Instagram Reels. That's how I found out about these two Bum of the Month campaigns. Yeah? So stop playing like you really got it like that. You fought a 50 million year old man in La Coca years. And you went life and death in there. You were scared to death. And I should really find... I think Carl made some better points in his actual full form video. But Carl said... Did Carl say? I'm not sure. Someone said. Paulie Malignaggi definitely said. I agree. He was scared to death in there. There was no carrying. He wasn't carrying Mike. He was slapping and pulling out. You saw the first round, right? That's not someone who's calm and who's collected. He was running for his life. Literally running and clenching for his life. That's what he was doing. So you made it look bad as well, to be honest. Yeah. And someone made a good point. They said Jake Paul was really pulling his shots, yeah, and in control. Given how big the fight was, he could have said, you know what, let me stand here for a minute and get the crowd going. Because every time Mike would throw a hook and it was half on target, the crowd would go wild. So Jake could have made it. You know what he's like? Oh, I'm an entertainer. If Jake wasn't scared to death for his life, he'd have stood there, caught a few hooks or was tucked in a bit. Do you know what I'm saying? And, right, made it interesting. Instead, he literally boxed. He boxed like Caleb Plant did against Canelo, essentially. Even more defensive, to be honest. I'm trying to think of an example. What's an example of a fighter who's scared to death in there? Bivol. To be fair, Bivol. The way Bivol fought Beterbiev, man, that's how you fought Mike Tyson. But at least Artur Imad Beterbiev's in his, probably not in his prime, but he's up there. He's probably one of the most dangerous fighters we've ever seen in our life. Because Bivol, I actually rate Bivol. But to see what Beterbiev did to him, that shows you how hard Beterbiev is. Because I don't think no one else. We just saw how good. Is it Ramirez? Gilberto Ramirez. We just saw how good Ramirez looked at cruiserweight. He's actually good. And Bivol, to be honest, I thought Bivol was going to make. Bivol was making Ramirez look silly. So you see the levels there. You see the levels. Ramirez had no answers for Bivol. So that's the levels. But still, the principle is you ran like Bivol did against Beterbiev, ran for your life, man. You didn't want no more. You weren't in control. You weren't carrying nothing. And it was a bad look, to be quite frank. You could have made it interesting. You could have made a small-ass ring. Let Mike jump in. His legs were shot anyway. He's never going to do nothing. Like people, it's narrative, oh, power's the last thing to go. Not when you're 78, it's not. Like power's the last thing to go is like when they're 38 kind of thing. Oh, you're not in your prime at 32 anymore, but the power's last thing to go. That's like 38 to 42, 44. Even if you want to call it 45, that's when you talk about that. You don't talk about that 58. At 58, you are an old man. And I watched this fight earlier. I haven't got it up now, but it was Oliver McCall came back and fought. He's like 58 and he fought someone, and it really is. When you're in your late 50s, man, you just haven't got it. Obviously not. But that's the bottom line. And Jake couldn't even make it exciting and make it add a bit of drama to it. That's what someone in full control would do, add drama to it. I mean, you know what? This guy ain't got nothing from me. He's gassed. He's chewing on his glove. This guy's standing there chewing on his glove, man. Let me stand there. Get it shot in. Oh, man. Your training team were egging you on. Come on, he's old. He's finished. You shit your pants, man. You didn't want no more. You didn't want to stand there with Mike, man. Let him tap you on your glove. You could have sucked in here and just get. You know what? Mike's going to jump in with a lead hook. That's what he's going to do. You could have sucked in and just catched it. That's what you could have done. You didn't. You ran. Literally, you boxed. Jake Paul boxed a picture perfect fight. Like he was in there with Golovkin kind of thing. If Jake Paul had been in there with Golovkin or Beterbiev, we'd all sit back and say, wow, Jake Paul shut down Beterbiev. That's how he had to box. You can't do nothing with him. But with a 70-year-old man who's stumbling out, walking out, and apparently couldn't get out of his car, he had to have a hand out of his car. I didn't know all this, to be fair. I did not know all this. When Netflix was building the fight and showing us the countdown, and all of his training partners are saying, oh my God, he's the most best I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen you look this good before. I thought, there's no way that man's struggling to get out of his car. But I should have known. It's my own fault. God often sends me signs about the gambling. Because I saw him stumble as he was walking out. And I should have said, no. That's not right. There was no step either. It was just spark flat floor. There was spark flat floor, and Mike stumbled on spark flat floor. That's a flag there, folks. His legs are shot. He came out in the first round, to be fair to him. Did more than Jake did. In terms of trying to win a fight, yeah, okay, Mike did nothing for 7 rounds. But for the first round, I've got to be honest, who had the most dominant round? Probably a draw, but still. It wasn't much in it. That first round was pretty dominant from Mike, I thought. Especially in body language. Even the times Jake Paul was slapping Mike around on his old leg. He had one leg. Mike had one old leg left. When Jake Paul was slapping Mike around with his one old leg, his bum knee, Mike wasn't running, and like, I guess he couldn't run, to be fair, but still, he wasn't panicking in there so much. He was shot to bits and couldn't react, but he wasn't panicking, and he was slipping and sliding, actually. Jake Paul wasn't slipping and sliding, he was running and clinching. Anyway, he said, first and last time I respond to your broke salty ass. So that fight's not happening. Let me know if you want to wash my cars. This is what you expect from the new age. Yeah, and this is why people say YB, like Michelle was saying, YB, he's 60, what do you expect? And Michelle, you put a tenner on it as well. No doubt I probably coerced you into doing that, but still, we always have the same opinion. We all watched the footage and thought, you fake Paul's useless, right? But this is the problem I got with Mike. It's like, you don't give gimps like this that opportunity. Yeah, you don't give complete gimps the opportunity to sit there and be all smug. You say, no, Jake Paul, if you want to fight, you fight. Keep fighting mixed martial arts fighters. And I'm just praying right now, people. Evander Holyfield came out and said, me and Mike need to fight again. I'm worried that Jake Paul's going to drag Evander Holyfield in there or Lennox Lewis in there. Because their egos are too big. They're too big for their own good, and the people around them aren't good for them, essentially. Because I would have told Mike, hey, Mike, if it's true, listen, if Mike's really broke, I don't believe it. I didn't believe it. If Mike's really broke, then I get it. But if you're not broke, why? Why would you want to go in there when you know your legs are shot? Yeah? They knew what they was doing. The team knew. Just because we didn't, we're outsiders of information. They had all the information. They knew his leads weren't working properly. Right? They knew that. For sure. We saw a few clips and you can say, you should have known it was only clips. Well, not really. I assume when someone signs up to do a fight, they can use their legs, not just chew their glove. Mike was just chewing his glove, man. It was weird to watch. It was really odd to watch. Froch. Someone said Froch versus Baloo versus the Paul brothers in a tag team matchup. Do it. So essentially, it's quite sad, really. I was hoping Carl Froch doesn't have the profile in the States, essentially. And that's why Jake Paul wants Canelo. So I'm not surprised. So essentially, Jake Paul's never going to fight Froch. He's never going to fight Baloo. That's what this tells me. He needs someone with enough profile. And really, it keeps going back to this. He's not going to fight Beterbiev. He's too hard. Unfortunately, people, we're left with one option here. And Jake Paul's called for it. Canelo, Carrot Top, Cinnamon Buns, Alvarez. That is it now. Because he don't want nothing else for whatever reason. I think it's probably numbers thing. He thinks, well, it's 100 million he's going to make from Canelo. On Netflix, that fight will make 100 million. Between them. If Jake Paul made 40 for this Mike Tyson fight, he's going to get 50 for a Canelo fight, I believe. Although Mike was a cult classic. But how businesses work, will be gassed over them Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul numbers. And they'll forecast off that. They'll say, oh, look, Canelo's a current pay-per-view star. So Jake Paul will probably make 50 and Canelo will probably make 50. That's what needs to happen now. Or at least call his bluff. Everyone else has done their bit. Daniel Dubois, Carl Froch, Tony Bellew, Artur Beterbiev. Everyone's done their bit, but he don't want none of that. He don't want 250 pounds, bone dry lean Danny D. That's what he does not want. He doesn't want Artur Beterbiev, who just turned out the next best guy and punched his head right away, and he didn't want no more. He running. That's what Bivol. I've never seen Bivol run like that. Even if you think Bivol won the fight, I've never seen him run like that before. He felt something in there. He don't want that. He want Canelo. Give it to him, man. Give him to him. What are we doing here? What are we talking for? Why is everyone else having to come out? And Carrot Top was being a diva. Oh, I'm too good for that. You weren't too good for fighting all the bums you fight. Carrot Top and ducking Benavidez. You're consistent with that, but you can't come out here and pass us all a public good. Anyway, Carl Froch, La Cobra, responded and said, "Listen up, Jakey boy. I'm 11 years retired, not done a round of boxing for over a decade. I'm old, grey and out of shape. I'd still give your missus the best night of her life. I bet she dreams about a real man. Let me still when your car's washing. She can let me in through the back door. P.S. I'd knock you out in 30 seconds. He's useless, mate. Honestly, he's useless for sure. I don't just say that. He's useless. That's the truth. Relative, well, not even relative. He's no good. He's no good. He couldn't beat Tommy. Bottom line, Tommy's not all that. We've seen Tommy go in there like going life and death with bums. So he's really no good like that. He's not at regional level at best. Maybe below regional level. I don't think. When you think about it, no, Liam Cameron's British level now. You'd say. Fake Paul ain't that level. Fake Paul wouldn't have the poise to post up there like Liam Cameron did with Ben Whittaker. He could have people. Fake the cake Paul didn't have the poise to stand there with 70-year-old Mike Tyson, whose legs was shot, had one leg and was stumbling out, couldn't get out of his car. So he's not even British level. He's regional, and the only reason I say that is because I don't know anyone who's regional level like that. He might not even be that. If I knew who was at regional level, that makes sense. Anyway, I'd take this fight. I'd back Carl. I'd put money on Carl to win this fight, but it's not going to happen ultimately. It's looking like I'm intrigued to see. I ain't gonna lie. I'm intrigued to see where Fake Paul goes with this. It's going to be. I did a video earlier today. It's going to be either a WBA belt, because the WBA president's come out and sucked Fake Paul off and said, "Oh, I want you to fight for my belt." So it's going to be that, or. And that fight was versus Chavez. WBF said, "Oh, you can fight for my regular title versus Chavez," or it will be another kind of mixed martial arts type shtick, I guess. That's what we're looking at now. Where's the Tommy? I'm thinking about now. Where's the Tommy Fury's fighting in January. Fake Paul's come off a big fight, so he'll probably be ready after Tommy Fury's finished, looking for maybe a June fight. That's the logical thing to do. Do I want to see it? Will I watch it? I'll watch it. Not what I want to see, though. I'd rather see Carrot Top step up now. Now's the time to step up, Carrot Top. Yeah? In kind of hardcore or semi-hardcore boxing circles, Carrot Top's not got respect like that. Him coming out, yeah, and saying, "I'll handle this for boxing," he can spin it that way as well. Put me on your PR team. Hey, man, we love the sport of boxing, and we can't have this clown here thinking something sweet. We can't have this clown masquerading, so we're going to handle this for the betterment of the sport. That's how you spin it. At the same time, you're cashing a $50 million check plus from Netflix. So there's all the incentives are there. Everyone's happy. Who wouldn't be happy with that? Apart from the TalkSport shills who are trying to protect Fake Paul from getting his ass whooped by Carrot Top. Oh, you're bringing the sport in disrepute. No, Fake Paul is making a clown show out of it. Mike Lyson's got responsibility as well, but Fake Paul still. He knows what he's doing. So Carrot Top's the only one at this point, folks. The only one. And he's silent. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe, like off the bell, 100%. There's no doubt about this one, people. Stop it.